This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Wednesday, May 14th of 2025. It may feel like summer, but we are still in spring, and we are so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Paul Welbig of New Holland. Also have a check of the closing markets with Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. But first off, here's my conversation with Paul Welbig of New Holland about their latest sprayer technology. Right behind us, we've got the New Holland sprayer technology, particularly that IntelliSense system. Tell us a little bit about the latest innovations that you guys have brought here today.
Well, yeah, real excited to be here at Commodity Classic to talk about our exciting new product, IntelliSense sprayer automation, and kind of all the benefits that provides. And so generally what it is, it's basically a multispectral camera system that's mounted on top of the cab of the sprayer. It can look out into the field about 50 feet and about 100 feet wide, kind of surveying the entirety of the plants and all the different things that are out in front of it. And then based on what those sensors are seeing, what those cameras are seeing, it can make adjustments to the product that's being applied across the boom in real time, at full speed. And, we have lots of different capabilities and modes, I would say, that we could run for the different product applications that the farmer is doing on their farm. So, it's really exciting. It really provides a lot of full season utility, so they can use it all the way throughout the growing season. It provides increased productivity because you're allowed to, continue at the normal operating speed you would do, and then provides a pretty unprecedented ROI to the customer because you're saving on inputs and also increasing yield potential based on the variability across the boom that it's providing.
So when we look at the IntelliSense system, is this something that just comes with the newest models, or can it be retrofitted onto existing plant or sprayers
both
already?
Yeah, yep. No, that's the exciting part too. So it will come factory fit on the new model year 26 New Holland Guardian sprayer later this year. That'll be available, and at that same time, we'll make that kit basically retrofittable on earlier models like model year 23 and above. So if you already have a Guardian sprayer on your farm, you'll be able to leverage this and take advantage of this technology once it's available, and it'll be a real easy installation because a lot of those sprayers have the wiring and everything already connected to make it, again, a pretty plug-and-play installation.
And I know when it comes to the spraying process, a lot of farmers might not think of potential efficiency to upgrade there, but when you have something like that where even if it's just a few plants to make an adjustment for, you adjust a few plants over your entire farm and you're saving a lot of money.
Exactly, especially with the size of the booms that 120, 135 feet wide. There's a lot of variability across that happens, and then as you scan out in front of you, a lot of farmers already know this as they're looking over their crop and seeing things, they can see the variability right there in front. So now that we have the technology to be able to do something about that, like I said, it saves them money on not applying in areas that it doesn't need it. And then you could also increase potential through, maybe putting a little bit more on in certain areas that could increase the yield or the performance of the chemical that's being applied.
All right, Paul, that's great information on the IntelliSense system. Is there anything else that our farmer listeners and viewers should know about?
Well, I would also say one additional thing is there's no subscription fees, no ongoing costs. So once you buy the sensor and the unlock that goes with it, it's a one-time fee, and that's what's going to unlock all that potential. And so that's another exciting thing that customers are, hearing about here at the show, and kind of, provides them a stronger return at the end of the day.
And for anyone who would like to get in touch and learn more about either the IntelliSense system or anything in the New Holland lineup, how can they do that?
Easiest way is to go talk to your New Holland dealer. They'll have all the information there available, as well as you can go to our website at newholland.com.
All right, Paul, thanks so much for your time and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate
Perfect.
it. I'll get that mic off you. That again was Paul Welbig of New Holland. We'll take a look at the closing markets next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and it's time now to take a look at the closing markets with Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. First off, Kenan, what do we see going on in the grains today?
Leader in the grains today and the grain complexes were probably the oil. So soy oil was the leader today on that 45Z news that's been kind of the talk of the markets the past few days, where the House committee has put out a recommendation to extend 45Z through 2031, only allowing North American made products to be eligible for it. So soy oil was the leader. Beans were up today. Corn was pretty flat on the day, a little up movement in the front months. Back months were down slightly here. So corn, kind of sold down to some resistance, and it's been wobbling around back there. And then wheat, the Chicago and Kansas City, who had made lows, are kind of rebounding off of some of those low prices. Minneapolis, with the good forecast for the northern plains in that hard red spring wheat growing area, kind of was the leader to the downside today in the wheat market, and never really caught the rally the other two classes did.
And then when it comes to the weather at this point, we were talking beforehand of some dry conditions that are causing some concerns. Got some in the forecast, like you mentioned, for next week. But here on out, we're kind of really looking at a much more weather-focused market, right?
Yeah. A lot of this is going to be weather. The WASDE report last week wasn't that bearish, I should say. That soybean stocks number for 25-26 is pretty tight, and corn wasn't quite as big as the trade was guessing. They decreased that 2024-5 crop even further. So if you start getting the weather, the balance sheets are probably going to, kind of be supportive here if you get that weather rally. So fundamentals say that there is some, fire. Not fire, but some fuel for a fire. You just kind of need a spark here, maybe. And that's what I'm sure producers are hoping for with prices where they are currently.
And then over on the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs trade today?
Cattle was kind of a wild day, so down to start the day and then up and then close the day down pretty big. I don't have any specific news why, but like someone said, they can't go up every day, and hogs were slightly lower on the day. Some of those back buns hogs have been acting pretty nice here, and that gap between the cattle and the hogs has been closing slightly, but it's been out of whack here for the past year, price wise, for those proteins with the tight cattle fundamentals.
All right, Kenan, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with agmarket.net, how can they do that?
Yeah, just go online and check out agmarket.net and look at our services and the brokers in your area.
All right, Kenan, thanks again for your time as always, and we look forward to more analysis from you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Riley.
Thanks again to Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for joining us on today's show. We'll go ahead and take a look at the closing market prices through the market window at iowaagnet.com.
July corn up 3 even at 445 and a half. July soybeans up 5 1/4 at 1077 3/4. July soybean meal down $1.40 at $291.90. Soybean oil up 84 cents at 52.32. Chicago wheat up 7 1/2 at 524 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat up 11 1/4 at 523 even. Minneapolis spring wheat down 3 3/4 at 577 even. July oats down 3 1/4 at 338 3/4. On the Merc, June live cattle down 237 at 213.95. May feeders down 325 at 299.57. June lean hogs down 65 cents at 98.85. Pork cutout went unchanged at 104.12. And May Class 3 milk also went unchanged at 18.48.
That's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM, and that also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pods of Potential. You can find those on your favorite podcasting service at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.